The British elections were held. Theresa May is trying to form a government. Oddly enough, she's trying to do it with the party that emerged out of Ian Paisley's efforts in Northern Ireland. This is the Unionists, the biggest of the Unionist parties in Northern Ireland. These are people who are whose ancestors, who are the descendants of the Brits who had conquered and controlled Ireland, and they are Protestant. They don't like the Catholics who occupy most of the rest of Ireland. Well, they occupy Ireland. This is Northern Ireland, which is now arguably a separate country. The party has long historic links to paramilitary groups and whatnot. Their principal platforms are against gay marriage and gay rights in general, and also against women's right to choose an abortion or even get birth control. This is an extremely right-wing party. And this is who Theresa May is gonna get into bed with. We'll see where this one goes. Meanwhile, Jeremy Corbyn, the kind of Bernie Sanders of the UK, who damn near won, which is amazing. I mean, you know, he's always been kind of viewed as this fringe figure. Keep in mind, in the UK, with the exception of The Guardian, which is, you know, a nonprofit and just kind of getting by, and The Independent, which is, you know, sort of in the middle, all of the newspaper, I mean, the Times of London is owned by Rupert Murdoch. It's like all of the media is on the side of the Conservatives. And there basically isn't any Labour media in the United Kingdom anymore of any great consequence. You know, Margaret Thatcher started the war on the unions by busting the coal union, the largest and strongest union in the UK, as her first act of office in 1978. So it's interesting. And here's Jeremy Corbyn. This is a little clip that, in fact, I retweeted it this morning. That came to us over Twitter. Jeremy Corbyn speaking to the people of the UK, thanking them for the vote that nearly made him Prime Minister, and might still, if Theresa May can't pull off this coalition. We'll see. But here's Jeremy Corbyn.
I would like to thank every single person who voted for the Labour Party yesterday. The first-time voter, the lifelong Labour voter, the lifelong Conservative voter, the young person, everyone, every person who voted Labour. Your vote for us was a vote for change, and a vote for our country, and a vote for hope.
And then he gets into the
Theresa
specifics.
May called this general election in her party's interests, not in the interests of our country. She thought that with the backing of the billionaires and the corporate elite, she could take your vote for granted. But she underestimated the Labour Party, and more importantly, she underestimated you. Now, the Prime Minister has no authority, and the Conservatives have no mandate to privatise and cut our NHS, cut school funding, no mandate to cut a single police officer, and she certainly does not have a mandate to cut pensioners' winter fuel allowance or take free school meals away from a single child. Nor do they have a mandate for their race-to-the-bottom Brexit, instead of the jobs-first Brexit backed by Labour. While the Conservatives offer cuts and ran a campaign of fear, Labour is determined to invest in you and your family. We offer real hope. Under a Labour government, we will invest in our communities, our hospitals, our schools, our police and our emergency services. Labour has made gains in every region and nation of Britain. With your help, working together, unified behind a common purpose, we can win, and we will win. And we'll build a country that works for the many, not the few.
For the many, not the few. That's the title of Robert Reitch's book. Yeah, it's. I'm not sure if it's a quote from Karl Marx or not, but it's a great quote anyway. So that's Jeremy Corbyn, and that's what happened in the UK. Just an FYI. Science news. This from a British paper. The Rodney and Ottumata Times, from the Waitemata and Kapura Gazette. This is a little newspaper in the United Kingdom. The article is titled "Coal Consumption Affecting Climate." Now remember that, the title, Coal Consumption Affecting Climate. In just a minute, I'm going to tell you what year this was published. It's going to blow your mind. The article starts out, the furnaces of the world are now burning about 2 billion tons of coal a year. When this is burned, uniting with oxygen, it adds about 7 billion tons of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. This tends to make the air a more effective blanket to keep heat into the earth. In other words, it's an article about how burning coal is causing climate change and global warming. It was published August 14th, 1912. Stepping into the Wayback Machine to July 26, 1920, H.L. Mencken in the Baltimore Evening Sun wrote, as democracy is, now keep in mind, as H.L. Mencken was writing this, a guy by the name of Warren Harding, sort of the Donald Trump of the era, he was more the Paul Ryan of the era, was running for president on the twin platform of more business in government and less government in business. In other words, privatize and deregulate. And cutting taxes will help us all. In other words, trickle-down economics. And Harding, when he was elected president, he dropped the top tax rate from 91% down to 25%, and thus kicked off the so-called Roaring '20s, the stock market bubble that burst in October of 1929, creating what was referred to until the mid-1940s as the Republican Great Depression. Finally, the Republicans got them to take the word Republican out of it and just say Great Depression. But anyhow, H.L. Mencken, the famous newspaper man, this was July 26, 1920, during the Harding, when Harding was running for president. He says, as democracy is perfected, and now, I think he was talking about Warren Harding, but some friends of mine think he was like, this visionary who was seeing Donald Trump. Who knows? As democracy is perfected, the office of the president represents more and more closely the inner soul of the American people. On some great and glorious day, the plain folks of the land will reach their heart's desire at last, and the White House will be occupied by a downright fool and complete narcissistic moron. I should have checked the Baltimore Evening Sun and made sure that that's not an apocryphal quote. I'm taking this from a friend of mine at face value. But there is a state representative in Wisconsin, Jesse Kremer, who a Christian extremist, who is the author of a controversial campus free speech bill, in quotes, that would basically turn you into a criminal if you protest right-wingers speaking on campus. And he said he wants the University of Wisconsin system to be neutral on controversies of the day. For example, if the Earth is only 6,000 years old. All right. This is the guy who, I'm serious. I'm not making this up. He says, the United States is a Christian nation. He says the Earth is 6,000 years old. That's a fact. Wisconsin State Representative Jesse Kremer, K-R-E-M-E-R. This, a Republican, of course. Come on. Oh man, what can you expect? So, a few other things here that I wanted to share with you. The Republicans yesterday, of course, voted to kill off Dodd-Frank and the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, which has saved you and me, working people, consumers, over nearly $30 billion, and returned it to us from the banksters who stole it from us. The Republicans are very upset about that, and they want to shut it down. They think the banksters should be able to rob working people without limit. I mean, who cares, right? And this sweeping deregulation bill. In fact, the author of the bill, fierce fiscal conservative, this is from Victoria Jones's newsletter, and House Financial Services Chairman Representative Jeb Henserling, our Texas, says he hopes parts of it will become law during this session of Congress. Right. And reality winner, the young woman who leaked the dossier, whatever, the NSA report that Russia was trying to hack our elections. She was denied bail, and she's an former Air Force linguist who speaks Farsi and Arabic, and they denied her bail based on, in part, on a phone call she had with her mother, where she said those documents, you know, that's why I'm in trouble. And, you know, the government is saying because there was an S in the end of the word document, she's got more stuff that she might release or whatever. And, I mean, you know, it's just, we need some strong whistleblower laws in this country. I'm not sure she's a whistleblower or not. I don't know enough about the case, frankly, but we need strong whistleblower protection. Anyhow, it's Anything Goes Friday. Pick up your calls right after the break here and find out what's on your mind today. I've got some more news as we go through the day as well.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And thanks to Troy and the Google machine, the H.L. Mencken quote is actually real. I'm amazed. The narcissistic, he actually wrote that in 1920. Yep, there it is.